After the big school exams were over, the real daughter, Clara, got into a top university with a full scholarship. At the hospital, my foster mother, Helen, removed my oxygen supply. She claimed her daughter, Clara, had somehow taken my good fortune. The more I struggled, the better Clara did, while only bad things happened to me. In my previous life, I got hurt from practicing dance and piano all the time. But Clara partied overseas and still became a famous dancer. I studied nonstop until my brain couldn't take it anymore, causing serious illness. Yet, she always got the best grades and everyone saw her as a wonderful, gifted person. It turned out they raised me just to be Clara's substitute, to take all the hard hits in life for her. Meanwhile, she lived happily and succeeded without effort. So, this time, I chose to relax. I promised myself I'd confuse Clara. After our positions were switched, I packed my things and walked out of the Miller family house. I'm Anna, the girl who wasn't really a Miller. My foster mom, Helen, adopted me and raised me as her own for 18 years. On the day I turned 18, she told me I wasn't her biological daughter. Her real daughter, Clara, had been getting medical care far away but was now coming home. It was time for the truth to come out. Just like that, I went from being the cherished Miller daughter to a fake. At the same time, Clara returned and was treated like a perfect, talented angel. Because of this switch, people thought I was the one who had unfairly received all the good things. They acted like I owed Clara because she had suffered, as if I had caused her bad life. I became the bad guy. Clara, on the other hand, got all the understanding and pity. When I chose to leave, she cried and held onto my bag, saying, "Sis, don't leave, please stay." When I wouldn't stop, she looked sadly at our mom, Helen. My foster mom cleared her throat and said seriously, "Anna, even if you're not our blood, you grew up here. Clara and I think of you as family. The big exams are coming soon. This is important for you. Concentrate on studying. We can discuss you moving out after the exams." She smiled kindly and gave me a huge pile of practice papers, gently telling me, "Be a good girl and finish these by tonight. If you don't, you get no food and no sleep." I secretly laughed at this mother and daughter act. Did they really care about me? No, it was all about them. Clara supposedly stole my luck. No matter how much effort I put in, I was just helping her succeed. I grew up in the Miller house with Helen, making me study hard and train in piano and dance. She punished me severely if I didn't meet her high expectations. People thought she was just being strict for my own good, a dedicated mom. They saw me as the disappointing child who couldn't learn, always making mistakes. But the truth was, everything I learned somehow went to Clara. Even while she was supposedly sick overseas, she had fun partying, but still came back looking like a brilliant star. In my past life, I worked until I collapsed from a brain injury, ending up in the hospital and missing the exams. Clara, however, easily got into great schools. The night my foster mom pulled out my breathing tube, she smiled sweetly, saying her daughter had won and I was useless now. It was time for me to disappear, she'd said. The memory of nearly dying was still strong. This time, I wouldn't make those same errors. As my foster mom took my suitcase and told the helper to take me back to study, Clara looked at the stack of practice sheets. Not happy, she pouted and said, "Mom, isn't that too little practice work with exams so close? Should we give Sis double?" She pretended to be worried, adding, "Sis's grades are so low she might fail if she doesn't work harder." I smirked inside. So, not working hard? I was forced to study until 2 a.m. and woken up before sunrise. Clara got to eat well, sleep enough, and play games. Or pose for pictures. If I hadn't worked so hard, could she maintain her image as a smart, rich girl? Mom nodded and added more English homework. I pretended to feel dizzy and fell down. That scared them. I weakly claimed, "Helen, I'm so tired." But she showed no pity, poking my forehead and scolding, "How dare you complain? Did you forget the exams? Everyone works hard, only you are lazy. Do my years of effort mean nothing?" Last time, her harsh words pushed me until my brain gave out. "My dear Mom?" She took out my breathing tube while smiling, calling me a replacement doll, an empty shell. I took deep breaths, pretended my head hurt badly, and whined, "If this goes on, I'll die." Yeah, I gave Clara the papers. "My work is pointless, sis. You're the real genius, everyone's hope." Clara paled, looking at all the work. She threw it down quickly like it burned her. I asked innocently, "Sis, aren't you studying for the exams?" Clara nervously replied, "I've already done all these. How else do you think I get my grades?" Ha! She was such a liar. At school, Clara never studied. During lessons, she was always on her phone or reading stories. When caught, she'd boldly say she already knew everything. If questioned, she'd manage to show off using things I learned, making everyone think she was a natural genius. Her books were perfectly clean, no notes at all. She didn't want late nights to spoil her looks, so studying hard was never an option for her. Our foster mom saw the tension between us and finally sighed, saying reluctantly, "All right, rest today. Do it tomorrow." Then she gave me a stern look, ordering, "Remember, just one day off. Don't get lazy." That night, I rested in bed, feeling relief for the first time in ages. Without the huge pile of work, I could finally sleep properly. I felt the knowledge from all the exercises I'd done slowly coming back to me. My eyes opened wide. I jumped up, ran to my desk, and looked through my books. Things that were confusing before now made sense. Problems I couldn't even start now seemed easy. Thinking about my past life, I laughed sadly. It seems if I just do nothing, that mother-daughter pair can't control me. Not only that, but the luck and knowledge Clara took would return to me. So why try so hard? Why work like a slave just to make their lives easy? I might as well just relax for the time I have left. I looked at the calendar. There was still a month until the big college exam. A month was plenty of time to change things. The next day was a weekend. Because exams were near, the school eased up, letting students rest. But my foster mom and Clara wouldn't let me relax. They woke me early and brought even more practice work, piling it high in front of me. With a determined look, Helen said, "You skipped yesterday, so today you do double. This is the final push before the exam. You must use this chance. Before Clara and I return, finish all this, or else—" She gave that sweet but scary smile and added, "You know what happens if you don't." Mom's punishments changed, but I'd experienced them all. At 5, she made me learn ballet. When I cried about the pain and wanted to stop, she made me stand in the hot sun until I got heat stroke and fainted, ending up in the hospital. At 7, she started my piano lessons. When she found out I played with friends instead, she dragged me home, yelling, and locked me in a dark closet to think. There were too many times like that. I used to think she did it for my good, so I'd tried desperately to meet her standards. But I wasn't foolish anymore. I deliberately asked my foster mom and Clara, "Where are you two going? Not eating breakfast here?" Looking lovingly at Clara, Helen said, "There's a new beauty spa open. Clara's been studying so hard, her skin is dry and her hands hurt from writing. A girl needs to take care of herself. I'm taking her for some treatments." I hesitantly asked, "Can I come too?" She frowned and snapped, "Why? You can't go anywhere until that work is done." The helper brought breakfast, but my foster mom waved it away. "No breakfast, it wastes time. Let her do her exercises." She looked at me hard and reminded, "Anna, don't think I'm being mean. I'm doing this for you. Don't end up like your mother." Ugh, how dare she mention my real mom. Helen is actually the illegitimate child of the Miller family patriarch. My real mom, Eleanor, was the true Miller heiress. So Helen is my aunt. Before Helen joined the Miller family, she grew up poor and rough. My mom was elegant, gentle, a popular rich girl everyone admired. She was talented in art and worked with famous artists overseas when she was young, a rising star. But everything changed when Helen arrived. Now my foster mom, Helen, is the respected artist. And my mom lost badly against Helen, went mad, and now lives in a mental hospital. Once my foster mom and Clara left, I secretly went to visit my mom at the mental hospital. In the garden, my mom looked so thin, her eyes empty, wearing clothes far too big. She mumbled to herself, but still had an art stand in front of her. Even lost in her mind, she painted constantly. Ironically, my real mom has been suffering in that hospital for 18 years, and I only just found out the truth. Even worse, in my past life, I believed my foster mom's stories and thought my real mom was evil. I ignored her completely. I never visited while she was mistreated in that awful place. I bet Helen enjoyed her win over my mom many times in the past life. I held back my pain and went to her. Mom, I came to see you. Mom looked up, didn't recognize me, and quietly turned back to her painting, lost in her own world. Nearby, some people whispered, pointing at us. That's her, the bad woman from the Miller family. Ms. Helen is so kind to put her in a hospital for care. And her daughter, too. Helen adopted her and raised her like her own. This woman is lucky to have a kind sister-in-law like Ms. Helen, but her daughter is just as bad. I heard that girl gets terrible grades, wasting the Millers' money. Like mother, like daughter, hopeless. Hearing them, I just snorted silently. Yes, to the world, my adopted mother Helen is a saint, but who knows her real reason was to use us. In the end, my mom and I suffer while they live well off our work. How is that fair? My mom stared blankly at her canvas, muttering, I won't give up. Must try harder. I held her hand, feeling sad, and she finally looked at me. Fighting tears, I whispered, Mom, stop. Rest now. Everything you do just benefits her. I hugged her tightly, patting her back gently. I won't let anyone hurt you anymore. Everything that woman took, I'll get back. Her hair was gray and thin from suffering, but she still looked elegant. She looked at me confused, asking, Who are you? My heart ached. I forced down tears and said, Mom, it's Anna. Back then, my mom and Robert were engaged, but Helen appeared and made Robert think she was innocent and pure. My mom seemed boring compared to Helen. Robert broke the engagement and married Helen. Their affair became their twisted idea of true love, making my mom the bad guy. Later, Mom met David, and they clicked, but that bothered Helen. Helen drove my mom crazy, made my dad lose all his money, got him jailed, and he died. I was born in a mental hospital called the Bad Child. Anna was the name Mom gave me when she was briefly clear-headed, thinking of Dad. But Helen found out about me. Clara, her daughter, was born with a weak heart and might have died. Helen took me away for Clara's sake, pretending to be kind by raising her enemy's child. But really, she was using me. Hearing my name, Mom's eyes flickered. Anna, she said softly. She reached out to touch my face, looking tired but loving. Just then, the hospital manager and a doctor came in. The manager looked worried. Ma'am, you shouldn't visit. If Ms. Helen finds out, she won't be happy. I asked coolly, She's my mother. Why can't I visit? I sneered. Would your kind Ms. Helen really stop me from seeing my mom? The manager paused, looked at my mother, then explained, Ms. Helen ordered that she shouldn't stop drawing. It's meant to help her. But I knew the real reason. Helen just wanted to steal her talent and art. She did it 18 years ago, and now she wanted Clara to do the same to me. I stood up, looking at the manager and doctor with a calm smile. No need. She's suffered enough. Pack her things. I'm taking her home today. At the hospital, I got a call from Helen. She and Clara were back from the spa, angry I wasn't studying. Her voice shrieked, The big exam is soon, and you're wasting time. Did you finish the exercises? Did you watch the online lessons? She paused, almost yelling, I hired a tutor. Get home now. After hanging up, I hurried to Mom. I touched her face, held her one last time, and whispered, Mom, hold on. I'll take you home soon. Back at the Miller house, they were having a party to celebrate Clara's return. Helen spent a lot, inviting many relatives and friends. In the living room, everyone praised Helen. Miss Helen is so gifted and looks young. Even experts admire her. Years of hard work pay off, like they say. Can we see Ms. Helen paint live? Hearing the compliments, Helen smiled proudly and even had an art stand brought out. But as she painted, silence fell. People started whispering. Helen's hands were shaking. Her painting lines were wrong. She finished it from memory, but then made a basic error, smudging a corner. People gossiped. Some defended her. She must have had a drink. Helen worked hard today. She's just not herself. Others rolled their eyes sarcastically. You don't understand. It's performance art. It shows how skilled Helen is. Faced with the comments, my foster mom was quiet, looking thoughtfully at her hands. That's when I walked in. She noticed me and finally snapped back to reality. She introduced a man with glasses to me. This man is a famous university teacher. He knows high school exams well. Starting today, he'll be your tutor. The chatter started again. Look how much your foster mom cares. Your real mom was awful, but Helen took you in for 18 good years. Now she hired a tutor. You better study or you'll disappoint Helen. Hearing them try to make me feel guilty, I smirked and told my foster mom, Mom, don't bother. I don't want to study anymore. Both my foster mom and Clara froze. My foster mom grabbed my arm, asking urgently, What? Why don't you want to study? I replied lightly, My grades are terrible. With only a month left, it's pointless. Clara got worried too, acting like a concerned sister. Sis, even with 1 day left, you must study. Never give up. Because your grades are bad, you need to try harder. People again pointed at me, angry and critical. Some called me ungrateful. Some said I was difficult, just like my real mom. I listened quietly, amused. In my past life, these words controlled me and ruined me. But not this time. Soon, I'd show them who my foster mom really was. I turned to her, looking sad and innocent. Mom, I know I'd let you down. You did so much, spent so much, even letting my real mom stay in that hospital, but I don't want to be a problem anymore. I lifted my head and announced, From today, I'll move out and bring my mom home from the hospital. The best way to handle a manipulator is to use their own tricks. My foster mom wanted to seem like a saint. Why not use her own game? Hearing I was moving out and taking my mom back scared her. Her nice act vanished. She snapped, What do you mean? Exams haven't started and you're giving up? Aren't you grateful? Don't you care about yourself? She called several people right there. Then she ordered, Fine, skip the tutor. I've signed you up for extra classes. Starting today, besides school, you'll spend all your time in these courses. No time wasted. I laughed inside, but put on a teary face, sniffled, and said, Mom, I know you mean well, but I can't meet your standards. Looking at everyone, I gave a strong but sad smile. Everyone knows I'm not your real daughter. They think I'm why my sister suffered. It's okay. I'll leave so you and your daughter can be happy. You won't have to worry about me. I packed my bags and left the Miller house in front of everyone. I even went to the mental hospital to get my mom. What I didn't expect was my foster mom and Clara following me there. Blocking the hospital room, she yelled, You ungrateful child! Giving up is bad enough, but taking your mother after everything I've done? She looked nervous as she tried to grab my mom, but I stopped her. Protecting my mom, I said calmly, You always said my mom was bad and deserved this. Isn't her being here good for you? Why do you care more than me, her own daughter? Clara sneered, walking closer. Because my mom's just too nice. They'd done everything to keep my mom confused, making sure even in her illness she had no peace. So nice of them. I replied, Your kindness is seen, but I'll care for my mom now. I was about to leave with her when they lost control, threatening, Come back now! Leave her here to get better, or we cut all ties with you. I was surprised but thought, What luck? I turned, smiling gently. As you wish. Let's cut ties. And so, I signed the papers ending my connection to my foster mom. The moment I signed, my heart pounded with excitement. In my past life, I was never free, trapped by the guilt trips from this vampire mother and daughter. Now, I could finally be myself, not their puppet. Seeing I had really signed, my foster mother's made-up face twisted in anger. She sat down arrogantly. You lived in my house so long, used my food, clothes, everything. Plus your mom's hospital costs. Now you want to leave? Shouldn't you pay me back first? I acted confused, then said, Hold on, let me call someone. I brought in my grandfather's lawyer. He explained that Grandpa left a large inheritance, half for Helen, half for my mom, Eleanor. But since my mom wasn't well then, Helen took it all. The lawyer stated respectfully, by law, Eleanor gets her share. Now her daughter is an adult and can sue Ms. Miller to get the inheritance back. My foster mom and Clara were shocked. My foster mom started crying loudly. I raised you all these years and now you sue me? How cruel! I acted confused again. Didn't you just demand money, even though we're like family? I picked up my mom's suitcase and said casually, the lawyer will talk inheritance with you. If that's all, I'm leaving. With the lawyer's help, I got back the money my foster mom took from my mom. My mom and I moved into the house Grandpa left us, but that foster mom and Clara didn't give up. They sent maids to watch me. Clara even told the maids, Mom says even if Anna moves out, her studies matter. Start watching her. If she slacks off, tell us. Then they brought boxes of practice work for me, saying, Mom says finish all this before the exam, or else. After Clara left, I looked coldly at the maids and suddenly smiled. How much are Helen and Clara paying you? I'll pay double. From then on, the maids Helen sent became my spies. They reported I was studying so hard I barely ate or slept. Helen was thrilled, even sending old exam papers, and soon it was the last practice exam before the real one with Clara. On exam day, I saw my foster mom and Clara at school. Even for practice, my foster mom was stressed, driving Clara herself. She brought Clara a soft chair, an adjustable table, and even put an air conditioner in Clara's exam room, worried the heat would affect her. As they say, kids who don't study need more gear. Thinking how my foster mom treated me, how could she say she treated me like her own? She never drove me to school. I once got heat stroke during sports, and she didn't even visit. Clara walked over acting sweet. Sister, Mom and I aren't mad about the past. Do well and we'll forgive you. I gave a cold smile. Thanks, but no thanks. My foster mom looked me over and asked, Finished all the practice papers I sent? I nodded. Yes, I did. Just in case I'd paid the maids to copy all the answers. Satisfied, she happily patted Clara. No worries, dear. Do your best. Like a proud bird, she boasted loudly to other parents. Your scores jump around, always first or second. When will they stabilize? Clara took it seriously because this exam was her biggest failure yet. She was so stressed she almost cried, scoring only around 400 points, much lower than before. As for me, I aimed for an average score. Not great, but much better than before. Yet my foster mom was furious. On results day, she grabbed my arm at school, yelling angrily, Did you even study after leaving home? Did you finish the papers I gave you? I nodded calmly. Yep, all done. Shocked, she almost fell. Then why did Clara do so badly? I pretended to be innocent. What do my study habits have to do with her? Were the papers for me or her? Maybe check my improvement. Seeing her stunned, I added sarcastically, The only one doing worse is her. Sister said she did all the papers, right? Maybe you focused on me and ignored her, causing her grades to drop? So stop worrying about me, just focus on your own daughter. My adoptive mom and Clara were speechless, forced to hide their anger. That night, they came to the villa, insisting they wanted to take me back. My adoptive mom tried to sound noble. Since you left, Clara's been upset. You know how close you two are. Your leaving must have affected her. That's why she did poorly on the practice exam. So, you should come back. Their goal was simple. Having me nearby made them feel secure. They needed me there as their source of energy and success. But their plan wouldn't work. Just as my adoptive mom told the maid to pack my things, my real mom came downstairs. After getting her out of the hospital, I found a good doctor for her. Following his advice, she took proper medicine and rested at the villa. Over time, she got much better. She rarely had episodes, thought more clearly, and looked healthier. Mom heard the noise and came down. She recognized my adoptive mom and asked coldly, What are you doing here? Seeing my mom improved, My adoptive mom was shocked, her eyes wide. Her face showed anger, frustration, guilt, and fear. Finally, she asked, shaking, "How did you get better?" My mom smiled slightly, coldly. "Isn't it good I'm better?" Then my adoptive mom snapped back, quickly covering up. "Of course, sis. I'm happy you're well. By the way, have you painted lately? Since you're better, you should definitely paint, right?" Funny how she still wanted to use my mom. But I'd already told mom about their schemes when she was clear-headed. She wouldn't be their resource anymore, working on paintings constantly. My mom, elegant as ever, said, "Not anymore." She looked right at my adoptive mom, smiling sarcastically. "I know I'm not good enough. You're the real talent. I fought my whole life, but I'm tired now. You can have the title." My adoptive mom panicked more, stuttering, "Sis, how can you say that?" But mom cut her off. "Is there anything else?" My adoptive mom looked at me nervously, trying again. "I want to take Anna back. Care for her before the exams." Mom smiled coldly again. "No need. Anna is my daughter. She stays with me." She looked down at my adoptive mom like she was trash. "You took Anna from me then, and I couldn't stop you. Now you dare bother me. I'll make you sorry. Besides, everyone knows I'm mentally ill. If I kill you, I won't face consequences. Try me." I have to admit, my mom scared my adoptive mom perfectly. Finally, I smiled at my stunned adoptive mom. "Auntie, thanks for caring, but as you see, mom's much better with my help, so I'll stay here." "As for sister," I smirked, "make sure she studies hard and doesn't worry about me." In the end, my adoptive mom left with Clara, visibly shaken. Whether she feared for herself or Clara, I didn't know. But my revenge was just starting. That night, they were on TV. On screen, my adoptive mom wore a fancy dress, looking very upper class. Clara wore a frilly white dress, heels, and makeup, trying to look like a top student, even wearing glasses. They shared parenting advice, using me as the bad example repeatedly. My adoptive mom had planned it all for Clara, working with media to make Clara seem perfect, rich, smart, and successful, hoping she'd quickly become famous. The show had small quizzes to show off Clara's knowledge, but Clara completely failed. She couldn't solve a math problem, got basic science wrong, and even misspelled words while reading an old poem, despite Helen and the show trying to help her save face. Since it was live TV, it caused chaos online. Many people questioned if Clara's smart image was fake. Some investigated more and found she'd been promised a place at a top university, Oxford, by our school. The doubts grew. No matter how Helen tried to fix it, the damage was done. People demanded answers from the school about how someone like Clara got a guaranteed spot. During this, I talked to Sarah, the truly smart girl competing with Clara for that spot. Sarah was very bright, often swapping first and second place rankings with Clara. I told Sarah to get her parents to push the school for a fair test between her and Clara. Facing pressure online and from parents, the school finally decided. Another exam would determine who got the spot. Seeing her self-promotion fail and her spot at risk, Clara's stepmom called the maid, worriedly asking if I was studying. With her own daughter in trouble, she still thought about me, the adopted one. It would make anyone cry. The maid took the call in the living room, with my mom and me watching her, making her nervous. Under our gaze, the maid said cheerfully, "Don't worry, ma'am. The young miss is studying very hard." "She's in the study right now. Want me to get her?" Her stepmom replied irritably, "No need. Let her study. If it's not working, give her more practice tests. I don't know what's wrong with Clara. Her grades keep falling." Why were they falling? Because they were never really Clara's grades. Using my work to build her image failed, so it all fell apart, but that wasn't enough. People like her stepmom and Clara needed public judgment. To feel scared, have their dreams crushed, and become laughingstocks, they needed pain. So, I anonymously posted online. Clara's score on the last practice exam was only in the 400s. Everyone at school knows. With scores like that, how can she get direct admission? Her stepmom and Clara quickly defended her, claiming she was sick during the exam. No problem, I had more. I posted photos of Clara overseas asking, When Clara was abroad, she was either in hospitals or relaxing. She spent more time having fun than studying. How did she become a genius? Clara got angry and paid people online to flood my posts saying she was a natural genius with a high IQ, claiming even a little study worked better for her than a normal person studying all year. To prove she was a genius, Clara posed for photos and videos pretending to study. The funny part? She was reading extra material not even on the exams. This just caused more online jokes. People argued fiercely online, defending or questioning her. In the end, everyone agreed, wait for Clara's next exam results to see who was right. Seeing everyone watching Clara, I finally smiled. Clara likes attention, right? I'll just put her under the spotlight. Now that awful mother-daughter pair must be terrified. Clara and her stepmom came to find me that night to pressure me about studying, but my mom chased them off. She pretended to have a breakdown, holding a knife and sitting by the front door. Clara and her stepmom didn't even dare get out of the car and left quickly. When the results of this next exam came out, Clara did even worse, dropping out of the top 500 at our school. Her stepmom still tried to make excuses, saying Clara was stressed from online bullying and couldn't sleep, insisting it wasn't her real ability. So, I stirred things up online again. Same exam, your daughter is stressed, but who isn't? Why didn't others do badly? Luck is part of skill. If someone's mind isn't strong, maybe see a doctor. College entrance exams don't give second chances. The school canceled Clara's spot and gave it to Sarah, yet Clara wouldn't stop complaining online with her stepmom about how I bullied her. Clara cried to the media, "I'm just a young girl. Why does she keep attacking me online? An anonymous person with bad intentions. It's because of her I'm so upset." Seeing her play the victim, I laughed. Why not ask the school to show everyone Clara's exam paper? To be fair, the school had to release both Sarah's and Clara's papers. So, Clara faced her second huge public embarrassment. Her test was messy, her essay full of spelling errors. Despite living overseas, she even made mistakes in German. The online jokes got worse. Clara and her adoptive mom were desperate. With exams near, they actually cornered me at school. Her mom raised her hand to hit me, shouting, "It's definitely because you haven't been studying. I knew it. Since you moved out, you must have slacked off. Otherwise, Clara wouldn't be like this." Acting confused, I showed my test scores. "Hey, sorry, I've improved since the last exam." I pretended to be puzzled. Anyone can see I'm studying. The real slacker's my sister. Clara and her mom were stunned into silence. I walked out proudly. After all my planning, I finally saw results. But compared to the pain they caused me and my mom, this was just the start. Sarah asked to meet and thanked me. "Thanks for the idea," she said. "Otherwise, I'd have lost the guaranteed spot to Clara." I replied, "You would have gotten it anyway." Sarah smirked, clearly still angry at Clara. I just didn't want someone undeserving to get it. Then she looked me over. "I always felt your grades should be as good as mine. Why did you used to do poorly on purpose?" She paused, then added, "I heard you were close with the Miller mother and daughter, so why help me?" I smiled. "I have my reasons. Let's just say I dislike fakes too." Sarah gave me something for helping her. A voice recorder. It clearly recorded Helen's crazy outbursts. Sarah's mom works at a TV station, and Helen loved using media for hype. So she dealt with TV people often. Since my mom got sick, her condition varied, which meant Helen's, the so-called art master skills, were inconsistent. She messed up on TV several times, but always threatened them to edit it out, blaming others for her mistakes and having tantrums backstage. If this recording got out, imagine the public reaction to Helen. Listening to the screaming on the recorder, I smirked. I took it and said calmly, "Thanks, I know just how to use this." After leaving Sarah, Helen called, furious, yelling at me to come home. When I reached the Miller house, Helen and Clara were freaking out. Clara was sobbing, her nose red, breaking things in the living room, screaming, "Now what? My life is ruined because of that loser. How can I face anyone?" I walked in and sat on the couch. Helen glared, her voice shaking with anger. You dare come back?" Acting innocent, I asked, "Why not? You asked me to, didn't you?" Her mom threw papers at me and hissed, Is it true you got Clara's guaranteed spot taken away? I wasn't sure how she knew, but it didn't matter now. I secretly turned on the recorder and started questioning her, pretending to be crazy. So what if I did? Clara shouted. You ungrateful thing! Mom and I were so good to you, gave you so much. How do you repay us? By betraying us. I laughed. Treated me well, forcing me to learn constantly just to help Clara? Helen and Clara were shocked as I continued. First, Helen took me from the hospital. She used her money and power to bully my sick mom, separating us. All so I could be Clara's stand-in, just a tool. Second, did I ever feel loved in your house? You only forced me to learn, hit me, scolded me, never treated me like family. You worked me harder than an animal. You wouldn't even let me rest. Despite everything, her mom tried to act nice. I did it all for your own good, I scoffed. If it was for my good, you wouldn't be falling apart now. I stepped closer to Helen and whispered so only we could hear. You think I don't know? Before the Millers took you in, you were just a nobody. How did you become a famous artist? You stole my mom's talent. And now you want your daughter to steal mine? Dream on, I gritted my teeth. Your good days and your daughter's are over. Helen froze, likely shocked I knew their plan. Finally, she dropped the nice act, showing her cruel side. Yes, I did it. So what? You and your mom are just tools for me and Clara. Everyone thought I took you in and kept your mom in that hospital out of kindness, but no. I wanted you both to suffer and help me and Clara succeed. I love seeing you tormented, wishing you were dead, while your mom is laughed at in that hospital. Meanwhile, I'm famous and admired. To this, I could only reply, keep talking if it helps. I smirked at my adoptive mom. Are you done? Can I go now? But she refused and had guards block me. I frowned. What do you want? She sneered, pointing at me, yelling, You ruined my daughter. I'll ruin you. Don't expect help. Even if you vanished, who'd question if it was an accident? Who cares about you? Seeing her crazed look, I knew she was desperate. I laughed coldly. You think no one cares? My mom would. Because I was gone too long, my mom came to the Millers with the police. That was my plan before visiting Helen and Clara. Seriously, ever since Helen pulled my oxygen tube in the past, I knew she could kill me. I wasn't going to meet her unprepared. It was funny, really. Helen thinking she could just confess and escape. I told the police Helen and Clara wanted to kill me, yet they tried to play victims to the cops. Helen cried, Officer, it's a misunderstanding. This is my adopted daughter, always causing trouble. I just brought her home to guide her, and she calls the police with lies. Luckily, I was ready and silenced Helen with the tape recorder. In the end, Helen and Clara were arrested. During the investigation, information came out about how Helen framed my dad, leading to his imprisonment. She couldn't stand my parents being happy together and didn't even spare my dad while he was jailed. Eventually, both were sentenced, causing a huge media frenzy. I also released the recordings Sarah gave me, plus Helen's confession at the villa, pushing public anger to the maximum. Everyone online condemned Helen and Clara for their cruelty. But they didn't know about the luck-stealing part. They thought Clara succeeded because I helped her cheat, and Helen's paintings were my mom's work. It didn't matter to me. Makes no difference. Clara couldn't handle it. Once loved, now hated and mocked, she couldn't face the downfall. She ended her own life. Clara's death devastated Helen. Helen had a stroke, became paralyzed, couldn't speak clearly, and just drooled. As for me, I did great on the college entrance exam and got into the same university as Sarah. Before starting school, I went to my mom's art show. Mom, your paintings are amazing. Even when Helen stole your talent, she couldn't match you. My mom smiled gently, sighed, and patted my head. Heaven rewards hard work. Your knowledge, your skills, once learned, they belong to you forever, but value them. Even in college, study hard. The only one who can steal your talent is yourself. I nodded eagerly, full of hope for the future. Relying on yourself is always the surest way.
for the follow. You play Elden Ring, right? When you're ready to break out of landscapes, have you thought about a painting of Onion Knight? Wait, what if I did, what if I did, the loathsome dung eater portrait when? Well, princess, you see, acrylic gouache is not like regular gouache. Even just an onion? I love that. Fast and loose, hell yeah. The curious. Okay, okay, cracked. I like that. Bestie gave me a paint set. Comes with a mini easel and acrylic paint. Oh, fuck yeah, doodles! Oh my god! The turtle priest. I love him. The turtle pope. Ugh. Notice you're playing Elden Ring recently. Yeah, guilty as charged. Okay, so I was watching. I feel like I was saying this, but I was watching Glenn Khan, who has been streaming Elden Ring, and it's really I got that hankering. I got that hankering that only the lands between can sate, can slake. And I had to play, and it's been a joy. I've just been ripping through it. Oh, Latenna! I love Latenna. Oh, you liberals, men marrying men, women marrying gouache. What's next? Adds an onion to the beach, yes. If you ever play Culted Lamb or Chrono Trigger, I will push for paintings from said games. You should do a Hollow Knight. Oh, a Hollow Knight one would be so nice.